Welcome back, everyone. We have now gone from outside to inside. Just like the setting in a story can change, our setting has changed from the outdoors and the bright blue skies and sunshine to back inside to explore our academic focus for the week. And just a reminder that the activities that I'm sending in these files are being assigned for today, Monday, tomorrow, Tuesday, through Wednesday. And it is quite a bit, but I think you can definitely, let me rephrase that, I know you can handle it. There's a lot of extra reading this week, especially in science, as we begin a new focus. And what I've done this week, as you will receive your word list within seconds, your brand new word study list will reflect our new science focus. We are now shifting from energy onto two different science strands, one for the grade 1s, which will be plants, and another science focus for the grade 2s, which will be living creatures and growth and changes in animals. So I'm going to begin by introducing your brand new word study list for the week. And once again, they're both theme word lists now. For our grade 1s, your word list is connected to plants and planting and growth in gardens. I will go through each word. Number 1 is planting. So there's a suffix ing there. Look out for that. Number 2 is garden. Number 3 is soil. And in soil, we have our oi sound, which is made by oi and not oy. Then we have sunlight, which has silent GH in it. Number 5, grow, with a silent W at the end, so look out for that. Number 6 is roots with double O. Number 7, stem. Number 8, petals. Number 9, flower. And number 10, water. So these are all vocabulary words connected with plants and planting in the season of spring, as that's what we would be doing now. If we were back at St. Paul in the classroom, we would have just planted our pole bean seeds into the soil, and they would probably start growing. We'd probably start seeing the stem within a few days or a week. But you could also do that at home. Planting a pole bean plant is actually quite easy. If you can get the seeds, you just sprinkle them into some soil, make sure it's by sunlight and water, and you should see the stem rising within the next few weeks. Moving on to the grade 2 word list for the week. Because we are focused on growth and changes in animals, and when I say animals, I mean all types of animals in the animal kingdom, from mammals, which we are, to amphibians, to reptiles, to birds, fish, and insects. So let's go through your words, grade 2s. We begin with mammals, and there's a double M in there. Amphibians, you have a PH there, which produces the F sound. Number 3 is reptiles, with a silent E on the end before the S. Number 4, birds. Number 5, fish. Number 6, insects. Number 7, bones. Number 8, feathers. Number 9, fur. Number 10, scales. Number 11, crawl. And number 12, swim. So grade 2s, though, that is your vocabulary list for this week, and you will be coming across a lot of this vocabulary in your science reading as well. But before we get to the science, I quickly just want to review our math focus, which has been counting coins and money. This week, I'm going to ask you to use all of the skills that we explored last time in the videos, the counting the coins, identifying them through their value and their symbols. You will be adding coins for both grade 1s and grade 2s. So a couple of little reminders I want to mention. I'm going to actually take an example here. If you look at number 3, was it number 3 I wanted to look at, or was it what's a good one for you? You know what? Yes, it is number 3, but on this page. Perfect. So if you look at number 3 over here, let's count the number of quarters before we add them. 1, 2, 3, and we're going to skip that because it's a dime, and 4. Now you automatically know. What do you automatically know when we have 4 quarters? You know that makes $1. So I'm going to remind you that if you spot 4 quarters in your counting coins activity, you automatically should know that that creates a sum of $1. And I'm going to show you how to express that. So here's your dollar sign, and you can print your 1. And who remembers that symbol that comes after the 1? Because once you get to $1, we're no longer just focused on cents, we're into the dollar range of counting coins. So now there's your dollar symbol, the 1, and yes, if you said that decimal point, you're correct. Let's go back to number 3. Something you might want to do when you're counting or adding these coins is check them off so you don't get confused as well. Once you check off each coin, you will know not to recount it again. So we've counted 1, 2, 3, 4 quarters, which makes $1, but we're not done yet, because what do we have there? You know, from the blue nose ship, it is a dime. Even though you can't see the 10 cents on it, you know that's a dime from the size and the symbol of the blue nose ship. So we have $1 and a dime, which has a value of 10 cents. So this is what your answer would look like. $1.10. And it's really important to get used to expressing the symbols, so that way we know we're not just dealing with regular numbers, we're not dealing with measurement units like centimeters or time. We know that we're dealing with money. So placing the dollar symbol and the cents is very important. But you will not always need the dollar symbol. You will only need that once you get to $1 or greater. So keep this in mind. I hope doing that example together helped. I'm going to leave you with all of the skills that we have explored on counting coins to have you add these coins on your own independently, all right? So enjoy that. And we're now going to move on to our science units. Now, again, I've already mentioned that these are going to be separate for the grade 1s and for the grade 2s. So I'm going to start off by quickly going through the grade 1 science reading. Now, it is quite a bit, so I want you to take your time with this. And when you're reading, and this also goes for the grade 2 reading, which I'll explain in a few minutes, please have a pencil or a highlighter, circle any roadblock words, so any words that are challenging or stop you from completing a sentence. Focus on them. Maybe if you can get someone to help you, or use your skills or all of the reading habits that we have learned from the beginning of the year to help you persevere or get through the reading. So grade 1s, your first reading is titled, How Do Plants Grow? And once you're done reading it, you have 3 comprehension questions to answer. Behind it is another paragraph that will remind you about the parts of a plant, all right? And you can label those as well. So remember, you're going to learn about the roots, you're going to learn about the stem, and you're going to learn about petals or leaves. And finally, the last page will be also 5 questions connected to the parts of a plant. So this is a 3-page reading for you. So divide it out, don't rush through it. And my suggestion to you is to read it not once, but maybe twice, even 3 times, because there's a lot of new scientific vocabulary in here about plants that will help you. And the same applies for the grade 2 readings for the week. In fact, the grade 2s actually have 2 separate articles to read. One begins with mammals. Now, I thought about which animal kingdom I wanted you to explore first, and I thought it would be a good idea to begin with mammals since we are mammals. And like I just said to the grade 1s, a really great approach is for you to go through it with a pencil or a highlighter, circle any words that challenge you or stop you from completing a sentence so you can go back and learn those words, and then attempt reading the article a second time. And on the back, you will have 4 comprehension questions all about mammals. So if we go back to the article, your mammal article will be divided up into sections that talk about characteristics of mammals. That means ways that we can identify them. Like one example is mammals have bodies that are often covered with hair or fur, just like we have hair. It also talks about the mammal's diet, where they may live, and how mammal mothers give birth, because this is very different from some of the other animal kingdoms. The second article that grade 2s have is called Cheeky Chipmunks, and chipmunks are an example of mammals, and it's a lot shorter, and there are only 2 activities that follow. Okay, so again, read through it at least 2 times. There's nothing wrong with going back and reviewing the facts in the articles, and then you can complete the questions. All right, so that's our science, and I just wanted to wrap up by going through adjectives. I know we've had a great time with adjectives, and like I said, adjectives have really helped all of your writing in the last little while. A lot of the writing pieces you've submitted have been so fun and interesting for me to read because you have included adjectives, which again, describe nouns. This time, I'm not going to ask you to describe a place or someone else or something else. I'm going to ask you to use adjectives to talk about you. And this is something great that you can keep for next year, because maybe during the first week of school, you may want to give this to your next year's teacher in grade 2 or in grade 3, because it will tell your teacher all about you. Please take your time with this, because this is a special activity. You're not describing a setting or another object, you're describing you. So go through it and use adjectives that give somebody a really good idea of who you are, what you like to do, and what you want someone else to know about you. So that wraps up most of our focus for the week. So again, you're getting brand new word study lists, which are connected to your science. Both grades have some hefty science reading to do, but I'm sure you'll have fun with it, and it will definitely make you better readers by the time you're through. We're going to continue our focus on counting coins for the next little while. So just use everything you've learned up until now and give it a shot independently if you can, right? It doesn't matter if you don't get the right answer. You can always go back and make corrections. And I believe that is it. I want to wish you a wonderful 3 days ahead. And if you have the opportunity to get out there and enjoy that weather, go back to the first video just to remind you about how to be safe and careful while enjoying the sun and the outdoors. All right, classroom family, I miss you lots, and I can't wait to see you soon. Happy learning for the next 3 days.